Night. Maybe I'll give out those two plays somewhere along the show. But we have a star-studded lineup today. We've got Tokyo Brandon, Andy Lang, and Bat and Cleanup talking all the baseball, all the UFC. Well, he's not talking UFC. Andy Lang is. But my good friend, Bryan Power. We're going to bring in Tokyo Brandon because I think it's midnight in Tokyo right now. It's 9 a.m. here in the Mountain Time Zone. Brandon, thank you for always making time for us here at WagerTalk. Right now, number one in MLB profit in 2024, up 125%. All Sports 2024, up 165%. That is crazy. Right now, you have a 4% MLB best bet up on your page. Tell me what else they can find on WagerTalk.
I have a free play on my page loaded as well. Thanks, Kelly. I haven't done a show with you in a while, so it's nice to see you again. And I'm from Mountain Time, as a matter of fact. I'm from Arizona, so 16 hours ahead of Mountain Time at the moment. But I do have a 4% play up in MLB, as you said, and I'm number one in MLB profit so far. So grab that play. But I'm going to give you a couple of insights on two particular games today as we go on with the show.
Yeah, if you guys open the WagerTalk odds page, wt.buzz/odds, you guys can find the best price on both of these baseball games. Good morning, Titans CT. We're going to start off with the Padres and the Marlins. Mr. Tokyo, Tell me why you like the Padres here.
Okay, I do like the Padres here. It's a little steep in price, but I'll give you kind of a little, first I'll give you my breakdown of the game, and I'll give you a little betting tip as well from a veteran gambler. Matt Waldron takes the mound for the Padres. Rodri Munoz goes for the Miami team. So he's a terrible pitcher. I don't even have him ranked in my database, but Matt Waldron, kind of inconsistent. So what I do is I take my starting pitchers and I grade them on a curve of 30 so I can compare apples to apples with the bullpen and the hitting. And Waldron's ranked 19 out of 30. So he's a little inconsistent, but the Padres have just been raking recently. And at the trade deadline, they acquired a lot of good relief pitchers. So their bullpen is ranked right now 4th out of 30. And their hitting right now is also ranked 4th out of 30. So the Padres are on a big roll, and they're trying to catch the Dodgers in the NL West. Miami, on the other hand, has gone ice cold. They got rid of some of their best batters. Their bullpen's ranked 12 out of 30, which is not too bad, but poor starting pitching and poor batting, I think, is going to keep them down in this one. So when I checked the odds, it was minus 166. Little bit steep, but there's a little trick you can use to cut 20 or 30 cents off the price. I don't know if this works the same in NFL, but in MLB, if you do a -1, it's very low risk, and it's a very kind of sneaky way to get a better number and not really risk anything. So when you take a -1, if your team wins by 1, it's a push. So it's basically betting the run line without taking the risk. So I like the Padres -1. I think it was a -130 last time I checked. So that is a play that I put out to my clients for a 2% play, and I'll give it out on the show for free. Padres today, shaky Matt Waldron, but I think he can get it done against the 21st ranked lineup in MLB. So Padres -1 is my first play for the show.
Yeah, Brandon, my good friend Dave Koken taught me how to make it a -1 bet between the money line as well as the run line if your book does not offer a -1. Let's go to the next game. Baltimore is headed to Tampa. Currently, open -170 on the WagerTalk odds screen. -147 looks like the best line you can get. We've seen some big money coming in on the Rays, and rightfully so. The Rays have been playing good baseball, or at least superseding expectations all season long. But you like the Orioles here?
I do. And just one note about that -1. I actually learned from Dave as well, may he rest in peace, about combining the run line and money line to make a -1. But now things have progressed to the point where the major books right now will offer alt lines, and you can get, at least I use DraftKings to get my numbers, and you can get a -1 for any game there. I don't know about NFL, but MLB, you can get -1 for any game. So you don't really have to use any trickery to do it anymore. So the Orioles have Corbin Burnes on the mound, and I have Corbin Burnes ranked the number 3 pitcher in all of Major League Baseball. He's amazing. His stuff is amazing. The way he uses his tunnels. Pitching is not just having good stuff, but it's also the mind game of tricking hitters. And I don't think anyone does it better in MLB right now than Corbin Burnes. He also has amazing stuff. But like I said, I have him ranked the number 3 pitcher in all of Major League Baseball. And today, the Rays are getting cold. They got rid of Arozarena, who was their best hitter. They still have a couple of guys who can hit. But if you look at Corbin Burnes' numbers against this team in his career, he's held them to a 184 average against and a 665 OPS against. And what is 665 OPS? Since my scouting days, I use 750 OPS as kind of a Mendoza line. Anything higher than that, the hitters are getting the best of you, and anything lower than that, you're pretty much getting the best of the hitters. So Corbin Burnes is getting the best of these hitters throughout his career. The one thing that I have a slight reservation about in this game is Drew Rasmussen's going for Tampa Bay, and he has decent numbers against Orioles. He's also a relief pitcher, and the Rays right now have the best bullpen in all of MLB, according to my rankings. But I think the Orioles, they're hitting number 5 in all of MLB. I think if they can squeak out 2 or 3 runs here, it'll be enough to get a win, because I think Corbin Burnes can dominate this lineup, and he generally goes 6-7 innings. So won't have to rely too much on the Oriole bullpen here. And if the red hot Orioles can get 2 or 3 runs here, I think they can squeak a win out. To make a better line, I think I put this out on a money line at -145, something like that. So take the money line if it's -140, -145, but you can also use the -1 to chop about 20 cents to 30 cents off that price as well. I'm going with money line. It's a play I gave to my clients, 2% play before the show.
Titan CT jumping in there in the comments section there, Brandon, in regards to the total. Do you have any opinion here? He likes the under.
7.5 is pretty much the lowest total you're ever going to see, and the bookmakers generally won't go below 7.5. Believe it or not, 7.5 seems like a low number, but usually when the total is 7.5, it does go under in the majority of the time. So I would not disagree with a 7.5. If you can get a 3.5 in the first 5, I think that would maybe even be a better play. But we've got a top 5 lineup in Baltimore. So rather than 7.5 for the full game, maybe take Tampa Bay's team total under, perhaps. But no, I would not argue with the under 7.5.
All right. Anything else, Brandon? If you guys have a question here on the show, as you know, drop it in the comments section. Anything else, Brandon, that you would like to promote before we get to the questions?
Yeah, grab my 4% play today. I put out almost free plays daily, and I don't know if I'll get in trouble by Johnny for saying this, but word has it I'm going to be the $2 handicapper, $2 Tuesday handicapper this coming Tuesday. Probably shouldn't have said that, but you can buy my $2 play on Tuesday, and you can get my 4% play today in Major League Baseball.
Love it. WT.buzz/TB is Brandon's homepage. If Johnny gets mad, I'll just tell him to take a break. That's what my job is. I just told him in a text message. I said, it's Saturday. You work too hard. Razzle Dazzle Crypto would like to talk about the Yankees game, in particular, the first 5.
Razzle Dazzle Crypto. What a great name.
It's Prez's burner account on YouTube.
Okay, so Prez is writing into the show. No. I don't know. Corey Bradford is a really good pitcher. He's 3-0 and he's got a 3.96 ERA, and he actually has really good numbers against these Yankees in his career. I believe. Yeah. No, actually, strike that. He's only got a 2 at that sample size. But the fact that the Yankees haven't seen Corey Bradford and the fact that he's having a really amazing season, I don't think I would take Yankees first 5 here. If you are in love with the Yankees today, the first 5 is the only way to go because their bullpen has been absolute trash lately. But I'm probably going to stay away from that game today. That's not my 4% play.
There you go. I would agree. Ariel Epstein will tell you how trash the Yankees bullpen has been, and I will see them in
Pretty
person
bad.
in a couple of
Ooh,
weeks. So I will confirm that
you're
one.
such
All
a
right, Ralph Garcia
traveler,
wants
Kelly.
yeah, right. Yeah. Denver, Vegas, New York. It's going to be a busy next couple of weeks. Ralph
You are
Garcia
a
wants to know
traveler.
over 7 strikeouts today.
Skenes over 7. Let's take a look. He has gone over this in, I believe, 4 starts in a row until his last start when I finally bet it and lost. He only got 6 in his last time out. He's going against the Dodgers, and the Dodgers are pretty plate disciplined. But I do think, let's take a look at the Dodgers. Oh, they strike out 8 times per 9. So Skenes is getting 11 per 9. So if you average it out, if he goes 6 innings, he'll probably get over 7 strikeouts. So yes, I would take that bet. As a matter of fact, I might put that out as a play when the show's over.
All right. Listen, Paul
I
Skenes
might.
has been absolutely red hot. He's been really fun. I know I bash baseball a lot, and Brandon even said, he's like, Kelly, you have to talk about your favorite sport with 2 different
Yes.
handicappers today. I said, listen, in fairness, lacrosse has been much more exciting than baseball season, but I will say this, Paul Skenes, if we get more Paul Skenes of the world, maybe you can get me to watch more baseball. All right, a couple more questions. Alfred, 44 would like to know if you think the Astros can get to at Boston today. I'm going to go
Get
and
2
guess he wants
runs
to know.
at Boston.
Oh, 2 runs. Is that what that means?
Yeah, I believe that's what he means. Speak proper English and I would know better. But hey, no, I'm not going to knock him. Look, Wiskowski's on the mound today for Boston, and he's not exactly a household name. He's got a 1.41 whip, and the Astros are hitting quite well. Oh, actually, the Astros are not hitting quite well. Ooh, that's a good one. Astros are ranked 23 out of 30 teams right now. They're in a bit of a quagmire, but this Boston bullpen has been trash as well. I have them ranked 22 out of 30. So I think any Major League Baseball team can get 2 runs in any particular game. If it's 2.5, a little dicey, but you're probably not going to get good odds for 2.5. But if you can find a bet where the Astros are over under 2 runs for the game, I definitely would take it.
All right. Good stuff from Tokyo Brandon, wt.buzz/TB. Right now, 4% play up at wagertalk.com. And he told you guys a little secret that looks like he's going to be the $2 Tuesday handicapper, which means that Brandon has been absolutely on fire. We don't let people be $2 Tuesday handicappers unless they have been. Andy Lang, it's almost football season, which means you and I are going to do some stuff with props. Prop Shop has been one of my favorite segments over the last couple of years. And you've got a couple of props for us here today. Talk to me about a couple of UFC fights, starting with, I'm not even, you know what? I'm done on this show trying to pronounce names. I have embarrassed myself enough. I went to say the first name. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to let Andy take over.
You could just call her Alan Carr. We all just call her Alan Carr.
Okay.
So, Talita Alan Carr.
Alan Carr. Okay.
Talita Alan Carr. She's plus 142 right now, and this is a rematch from a Contender Series match where they fought to draw. I think she's going to win this one. So, Alan Carr is a grappler, but she's very undersized. She's very strong, but she's undersized. So she can take fighters down and kind of lays on top of them, works them on the ground for a little bit. But on the Contender Series fight, she got completely exhausted in the 3rd round, so much so she could barely stand up. Luciano loses the first 2 rounds and then gets a 10-8 win in round 3, so they get a draw. So Luciano has not fought in the UFC since that fight, but Alan Carr got a fight in the UFC. And it was very obvious she worked very hard on her cardio. She was much, much better in round 3, and she pulled the upset. Her cardio held up in round 3. She was able to push forward, and she took advantage of a fighter that got a little bit lazy. And I think that they might have the wrong fighter favored in this one. Alan Carr is going to have a big wrestling and grappling advantage, especially in the first couple rounds. And the only reason that fight was a draw was because Alan Carr's cardio went away in round 3. And I think she might have fixed that. Luciano's going to be better on the feet. And Alencar does have some pretty terrible striking defense. Like Luciano's going to be able to land punches. But she's not going to be able to land punches if she's on her back with Alencar on top of her. And I think that's what happens the majority of this fight. So I think she wins by decision. I think it's a close fight. I don't think it's going to be terribly entertaining. But at plus 142, Alencar is absolutely worth a sprinkle on the money line.
All right. Right now, Andy is plus 112 units in 2024 in all sports. And he and my good friend Dan Newbert had a 3-0 last night in the PLL and didn't share any of those big time plus money prop bets with me. So we're a little fighting. So Andy's segment's going to be short. So don't bother asking him any questions because we're not giving any answers. All jokes aside, congrats to you guys on those nice catches. I went 1-1. UFC 5-0 run. Andy has a 5% UFC best bet up right now at WagerTalk.com. What else do you have over there, Mr. Lang?
Well, if you or anybody else wants all of our lacrosse plays, we're running a buy 2 months, get 1 month free, Kelly. So for a 33% discount, all you got to do is go over to WagerTalk.com, WT.buzz/AL, and join in on all the profits. We brought in over 10 units on 3 plus money plays. No, in all seriousness, it's been a great 2024. We're already up 100.
I was leaving the Denver airport. I was on the rental car shuttle. Andy and I are having conversations about political bets, new business opportunities. He knew I was in Denver for the PLL and still just did not, just neglected. Then I'm texting Dan Newbert as I arrive at the stadium at the University of Denver. Oh my God, this place is amazing. Everything's great. Thanks for hooking me up with these guys. And he also neglected to send me any of these prop bets that I could have bet at DraftKings because I'm finally in a DraftKings state. So just so you guys know, there's a little bit of bitterness there.
That's
Because it
on me.
wasn't
If
like
you
I
would have
just talked about them yesterday. And
That's
I saw
on you.
my
If you would have signed up
students-
for buy 2 months, get 1 free at the beginning of the week, you would have paid for this and then some with these bets. No, in all seriousness, that's what I'm recommending for everybody. It's a 33% discount on 3 months. UFC's been running great, and that's what we're looking to hammer on tonight. 5% best bet is up, along with another play that's up there. Like you said, 112 units. I'm second on WagerTalk too. Tokyo Brandon, trying to catch Tokyo Brandon here for the number 1 spot. But this includes all sports. It includes all percentages. We're creeping up on football season. As you mentioned, Kelly, I went 13-4 in college football. We did great in NFL. And of course, we have all of our bread and butter sports like golf, like Formula One, like lacrosse. So getting a 3-month package is absolutely the way to go. Summer has been fantastic for us. We're plus 91 units in 2023. We're already up 112 in 2024. If you just want something for tonight, grab the 5% UFC play, but really take a strong look at that. Buy 2 months, get 1 free.
All right, here's a prop bet I've never heard of in the UFC. You are betting the total score for a round. Please explain this.
No, this is golf. This is a golf play. I put in the.
That's why I was like,
don't worry about it.
So sorry. I read that you only had UFC. I was like, I have never seen this type of prop bet, and that would explain why, because that does not exist. I was not.
It is.
My eyes were not deceiving me.
It is not your fault because I did clearly put UFC in there, and then I didn't label the other one. So that is 100% my fault.
Entirely too easy. His name is entirely too easy to be a UFC fighter, first and foremost. That is the number 1 problem. And then also, it is what it is. All right, Andy, also, not only in lacrosse, not only in UFC, not only in props, is also crushing it in golf. Now I know why I know that.
Yeah. Well, we gave out a winner on Wager Talk today on a round score, and we're going to do it again today. So Davis Thompson, if ever there was a golfer name, Davis Thompson, that's it, Kelly.
Well,
that pretty much sums it up.
Like a complete and utter idiot. See why we don't do that many live shows at Wager Talk? Because I am just following a script is not my forte.
We're going to take his under 67.5 on round 2 score. So this means he needs to shoot -3 or lower, Kelly. And what I've been having a lot of success is waking up and watching the first morning round guys and seeing how the course is playing and being able to figure out how these afternoon guys are going to play. And the course is playing really easy this morning. They had a ton of rain on the course. on Thursday, so much so that they didn't even get a chance to play any holes. So the guys had to go out and play on a wet course yesterday. And Davis shot -4. And what's crazy about this is he wasn't even that accurate off the tee. And if he's accurate off the tee, he's going to absolutely smoke this -3. Looking at his stats from yesterday, this is a course where you have to hit fairways in order to score. And this guy only hit 43% of his fairways. If he gets that up to 70%, green light special. His putting was really good. His approach numbers were really good. And the course is soft enough to where the greens are really receptive, so you could really dial in your approach shots. But they're letting the guys play clean in place, which means if your ball lands in like mud or something, you can actually pick the ball up, clean it off, and set it down to give yourself the perfect lie. It's perfect conditions. He goes in the afternoon, so the rough is going to get a little bit drier, and this line is already moving. If you're seeing it at closer to -160, I apologize. I put this play in a while ago, but you can just see money's coming in on these guys to have very low rounds in the afternoon. So Davis Thompson under 67.5. I'd play it because pretty soon it's going to move to 66.5.
Yeah, it's going to move, but also I need to know your threshold here. You said it might possibly be, I was getting ready to open up the app and then I realized I was going to be on camera. So I thought maybe that'd be a bad look to be on my phone, even though it'd be for betting purposes,
right.
Of course. So what are we talking? -165 as high as you're willing to go at under 67.5?
They generally move the number if they get to -165. Like normally you can play it at -165, but before they go to -170, they'll just move the number down to like 66.5. So I jump in and get it quick. Like I said, an hour ago is -140. So 20-cent move in the last hour kind of tells you the books are seeing what I'm seeing is that this course is very, very scoreable this afternoon.
All right, guys, if you have any questions for Andy, feel free to drop them up. There we go. Theo Green's already here. 3-leg parlay. And no, I'm not reading this.
I got you.
For you. Chara Lampus, Zalal Barlow.
He even put Charlampus's first name. His last name is much easier to pronounce. Gregorio. That was an easy one. Gregorio.
You're setting me up for failure.
You're good. Charlie Lampos should win. He's fighting a guy who has no chin, and Gregorio's got pretty good power. The guy he's fighting is an under machine. Like, I do not expect this fight to last more than a round or so. If it gets out of the first round, Charlie Lampos is in trouble. I think he gets to the chin of Kazama and knocks him out early. So I like that one. Danny Barlow is such a great fighter. He's so interesting to listen to. I love his interviews. And he's got, Kelly, one of the hardest punches in all of UFC. His nickname is the Hand of God. His left-handed punch absolutely flatlines people, and he's gonna do it again today because he's fighting kind of a chump. Zalal is the one that worries me. Yusuf Zalal had a little run in UFC, got cut, came back. He won his first fight back, except the guy he was fighting was hurt, had a really bad shoulder injury, so he basically beat a one-armed man, and he's at like -450, -500. I don't trust him. I think he's the one that could trip anybody. He's the one maybe that could trip people up in this parlay. I think you're a little bit safe, but Zalal would be my worry.
All right. Thank you for the question, Theo Green. If you guys have a question for Andy, drop it in the chat. Andy, let's revisit some things. One, what are you guys betting today in the PLL?
Why bet anything in the PLL? We're good for the weekend. We're done. Like this is our.
We're going to talk about my PLL plays while we wait for some more questions from the chat. I'm hijacking the show now. Tell me who trips me up today in the PLL. I said on my video, if the Outlaws were to lose last night, which I thought they would because Maryland has just been red hot, right? They looked a little abysmal for a homecoming game. It is what it is. We got the under. I'm happy that I went that direction. Tonight, they're playing the Carolina Chaos, but that's after the Atlas play the Archers. I took the under 27.5 in the Atlas Archers game as a total asshole contrarian play because that's just what I do. That line is egregiously high. And so
that's a lot of goals. That's a lot of goals.
It's not only a lot of goals, that's an extremely high total, but I'm staying in the same hotel. And I'm going to tell you, I could power rank who's the friendliest teams and coaches because here I am this like middle-aged woman by myself, and I can tell you who's been nice to me, who's been weird to me, who's been friendly on the elevator, and who is just completely checked the fuck out.
This is great.
Yeah, so it's like almost like inside information. Anyway, I'm gonna say this.
Let's hear it. Don't tease us. Power rank it. Come on. Who's been the nicest?
But the Atlas just completely just. They're in the elevator. They're stone faced. Now, Ariel Epstein is the exact same way. She claims you're not supposed to smile at people on elevators. You're not supposed to be friendly on the street. That's a New Yorker thing. So
that's a New York thing. That's a total New York thing. You have to be an asshole to everybody. It's just like unless they're your family, you just have to completely ignore the existence of other humans. Yeah. Yes. Complete total New York thing. I know exactly what
the Atlas filled that bill. Now, I know a lot of those guys aren't New Yorkers, just like a lot of the archers are not Utah Mormon guys. But I have seen 0 archers, not a single archer. Either I haven't seen them or they're not wearing archer's gear. So, like, are they going to bed at 8 p.m.? Are they super, like, ready for this game? Like, they might be. I haven't seen them drinking.
They're putting on costumes and going out to the bars, so no one recognizes them. You can't be a Utah archer doing fireball shots.
I'll tell you.
The night before a game.
So they can hear me. I turned my mic on. I will give you, Kelly, first to 3 points, Utah Archers. I think they are ready. Atlas coming off a bye. Archers whip people's asses in the first quarter. It's plus 102. So the race to 3 points on FanDuel, Utah Archers, plus 102.
Ooh.
I will be betting that.
Okay.
Nice.
Race 3. I'm telling you. I've seen like 40 Atlas players and coaches, and I'm like, there's not even that many of you guys. Like, there's like 15 of you guys, and why do I keep seeing so many? And I've seen 0 archers. I hope that means they're going to bed and that they're going to play a lot of defense today. The next game, I'm going to take the Outlaws, and this is not a homer pick. I said if they were to lose,
I love it.
If they were to lose last night, I'm going to be on them today. And I know that's hard to give out that in a sequential order of a video, but I just was like, all right, they're going to probably lose to Maryland, so they're going to have to win a homecoming game. They're still on the outside looking into the playoffs. Andy, this was the funniest part. Yesterday I walk in, it took me an hour and 45 minutes to get a rental car. So I'm not exactly the happiest person arriving in Denver. I get to my hotel, I'm starving. It's cold, it's raining, and I walk in and the lobby is full of Carolina Chaos players just hanging out in the lobby. I'm like, don't you guys have something to do? Shouldn't you guys be practicing? And then I was like, oh, I guess they have a game tomorrow night. Like, they don't have anything going on until tomorrow night.
Canadians.
Bottom line is they're not focused. Outlaws are going to win this game.
Well, I will tell you, I watched the Redwoods game last night, and next week, if there's a prop on the Redwoods to throw the ball out of bounds, pass it to the wrong team, take the overs.
It's so bad.
They're so bad. We bet on them. They're so bad.
We're going to get to Andrew's question here in just a minute. Sorry, guys. I've completely taken this off the rails now. But literally, Andy, I was on the sidelines and almost got hit. Me and my niece were standing there watching the game. I almost got hit with one of the California Redwoods, like, errant shots.
Oh, the best part was on the broadcast. They had one of the captains for the Redwoods mic'd up, and they're like, "Let's take a look at some of his sound bites." They cut to him, and he's bitching at the referees. They cut to him.
Yep.
He's bitching at his player. His player throws the ball out of bounds, and he slams his cross down. Then they show another clip, and he's bitching at the refs again. Then he's bitching at the coaches about the refs, and they cut to the announcers, and the announcers go, "Well, he's pretty passionate."
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say that I was sitting next to his best friend who played. I'm going to go ahead and guess this is the same guy. Because now, remember, guys, I don't know that much about lacrosse. But I was sitting next to a former Notre Dame lacrosse player who had about 8 Coors Lights, and he was fired up in his Redwood jersey. And he was yelling at one of the guys on the field, and I'm going to go ahead and guess it was that guy. Because between the two,
Might have been.
It was like firework. He was like the coach on the other sideline for his boy, and he was like just getting in his ass. And I was like, I took every bone of my body not to be like, you have Redwoods money line, don't you? Like, I was like, Kelly, this guy is not in the mood for your stupid humor right now.
So great. It's so fun. In all seriousness, most people maybe don't like the lacrosse talk. I'm telling you, lacrosse is one of the sports I have circled in a few years. It is going to be a juggernaut with the betting world. Just like if I would have told you 3 years ago the WNBA would be a juggernaut in betting.
I made that comparison last night.
This
Yes, I
is
did. I said a few years ago, the WNBA.
100%.
Listen, I was at a event at home. One of my girlfriend's dads was being honored, and her little adopted half brothers go to IMG. They both play lacrosse. They walk up to me. They've known me for a couple of years now, but they walk up to me and they go, I didn't know you worked for the PLL. I didn't know you were doing stuff with them and the betting. And do you know Brennan O'Neill? And do you know this guy? Do you know that guy? And I'm like, oh my God. These kids
absolutely
are going to go to college in a couple of years playing like there is a buzz. I know that lacrosse somehow gets like a weird thing. Like maybe there's like a lot of kids involved. There were a lot of kids there, teenagers there, college kids there. But those kids are going to grow up and they're going to turn 21 and they're all going to gamble on lacrosse. Every single one of them. I guarantee it.
100%. The games are very watchable. They don't last too long. You can follow the ball and you can follow the action. It checks all the boxes. It just needs to marinate a little bit more. And Dan has done a good job talking about how they seem to be much more organized than a few years ago. I am all in on the future of lacrosse, 100%.
Yeah, if you guys haven't got to watch a game yet, it's great. Honestly, I said this last night on video. I like it because it's the exact opposite of the NFL. The refs don't get involved. There's rarely any whistles, and it is go. Like, I'm sitting there. Finally, I had to stand up because I was too close to the action. Like, I had to, like, take a couple steps back from sitting on the sidelines because I was like, oh, I couldn't focus because it was so fast-paced. Like, what was going on? It was almost like I need that bird's eye view of being on TV or being up in the stands. It was crazy. That being said, we're going to get back to UFC talk. There's a couple questions in the chat. Thank you guys for letting me air out a couple of grievances and give out a couple of plays. Under 27.5 for the Archers Atlas game and Outlaws money line. Anyone like Santos in the UFC? Andrew I've said his last name. Wojcicki. What's it know?
Santos is the rightful favorite here. I think you could get a better price if you just want to take her by decision. Her opponent missed weight by 5 pounds. Her opponent, I think, has made weight one time in 4 or 5 UFC fights. It's really getting bad. Just move her up a weight division. Santos is going to have the much more polished striking at distance. Chandler fights like a bull in a china shop. She's going to push forward, try and clinch. But Santos, how can I say this politely, Kelly? Santos is on the good vitamins these days. And so is her husband, Thiago Santos, over in the PLL. Just look at a picture of Santos about 3 or 4 years ago, and then what she looks like now. You might notice a few discrepancies, like muscles. But so Santos is absolutely going to be the better striker. She's going to be stronger, and I think Chelsea Chandler, that missing weight was a really bad look. I don't think the UFC is very happy with her, so I would be terrified about her winning a decision when you miss weight that bad. So Santos is the rightful pick.
All right, guys, any more questions for Andy? Before I let him go, drop them in the chat. We're going to bring Bryan Power in to bat, clean up here, talk all things baseball, and hopefully he will not, act like Adam. How do I say that out loud without being mean? Too late. Andy, loving you.
Thank you, Kelly.
TikTok, shout out to you guys. I always forget about you. But any scorer props, any prop bets for PLL, follow at Bump Sports. Those guys have you guys taken care of. Andy Lang, WT.buzz/AL. You will see him on Bet On It with me in a couple of weeks, talking all those prop bets. Let's bring in Mr. Bryan Power, talk some baseball. Bryan, welcome in. Thank you for your patience. I'm sure you were just really enjoying the lax talk for like the last 10 minutes, waiting in the wings.
What a hoot. I don't pay attention to lacrosse, all candor, but it sounds like a real hoot. Maybe I need to start doing that. And you threw the Adam Trigger reference at me, Kelly. By the way, you threw the Adam Trigger reference. When I knew you were hosting, I actually chopped down my analysis because I know how you are. Normally, I look to add on to it. I like, I like to give the people information. But when I knew you were hosting, I said, hey, what you can say in 100 words, you can say in 50. So let's go it that way. So we've got shorter than enough.
Yeah, Dan Newber got the Adam Trigger bell out for Bryan Power. Bryan Power, let's look at your promo before I screw it up. Maybe I should open up that page. We're going to talk some NFL preseason today and some MLB. So if you have a question regarding either of those two sports, please drop them in the chat. Brian Power has been crushing Saturdays. What's up with Saturdays, Brian Power? 36-9 in your last 16
Yeah,
Saturdays?
I don't know. I must
You
get
just
a good night. I would say
miss?
I would
Like,
I
happy
would
on
say I
Saturday,
get a good
big
night of
winner.
sleep on Friday, but I can tell you, Kelly, I usually don't get a good night of sleep on Friday. So maybe it's just the lack of sleep that just gets me in. I wake up, I know what I want to do, but no, it goes all the way back to soccer season. 36-9 run on the last 16 Saturdays, and we're 6-2 overall the last 4 days as well. If all that is not good enough for you, I can do the promo for you if you'd like, Kelly.
It's almost as good as your like in-person under record, but not quite.
Yes,
You guys didn't
which
know?
Unfortunately took a hit.
Oh,
Midweek
no!
because
Regression is coming for you?
because the wind, it was all over the place in Cleveland, and the D-backs hit 3 home runs that landed in the front row. So that the alterations to the ballpark are what's doing it to me. But the promo, Kelly, Mark Zinno. Mark is always with us in spirit. You can always just close your eyes and imagine him ranting about something. He's on a 14-1 run. The two of us have combined 3-day special, $69. You get all of our picks. The Morning Wager crew, $69 for 3 days of Mark and I.
Yeah, if you guys didn't know, Brian Power, Mark Zinno are doing a new daily show called The Morning Wager. It's picking up some steam there on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Brian Power, let's get to this first baseball game. We're going to talk A's, Blue Jays. Thank God we don't really have to talk about the A's because we're going to talk about the total.
Yes. Well, we'll talk a little bit about the A's and how you talk about regression coming back down to earth. We'll get to that in just a second. So these teams, when they played yesterday at the series opener, 3-1 was the final. 3 of those 4 runs, solo home runs. So there weren't a ton of guys on base, not a lot of scoring opportunities there. And Kelly, I know Oakland had their run in July. Everyone was bringing it up. Did you know the A's are number 1 in WRC plus in the month of July? That was true. Well, guess what? That's just a small sample size. For the season, this is a lineup, 3rd lowest batting average in all of baseball, 230. They also strike out quite a bit as well, 3rd highest K percentage. They've been held to 3 runs or less now, 6 of the last 7 games. And today they're facing a righty in Yariel Rodriguez, 47 strikeouts, 45 1/3 innings pitched so far, 2.75 ERA at home. I think he's going to get the job done. The A's counter with Osvaldo Bido. He has good numbers as well, at least when you look at the advanced metrics. 192 expected batting average, 3.30 expected ERA. So I think he's going to do the job as well. The one thing, what kept this off my client card, Kelly, I am a little scared of the Toronto bullpen, which can be an adventure. But their lineup has underperformed all season, 4 runs or less in 6 of the last 9 games. I do like the A's bullpen, which is 6th in ERA. As I scan this game, there's just a lot of reasons to like the under 9, the key number of 9. So that is my call on this one this afternoon. Early start time, too.
BP, while we're talking baseball, I'm going to take some questions from TikTok. Before we get to preseason, if you guys have a baseball question or an NFL preseason, drop them in your respective chats. Yankee 123 on TikTok wants to know your thoughts on the total in the Yankees game.
I was very upset that the game was rained out yesterday. That's my initial thought, because I loved the spot for Texas after the Yankees had played 3 games in 2 days and the Rangers had an off day. I lean a little bit towards the over in this game. Rodon he's just not a guy I trust. Eovaldi has been hit or miss. So, again, we talk about key numbers. 9's the key number. I leaned a little bit to the over when I was looking at that game, but did not make my card. Would have loved to play Tech. Anyone who listens to the Power 5 knows I loved Texas team total over yesterday because I thought the situation was great. But alas, Mother Nature did not cooperate with us. So
She did not.
about that.
I was very happy
Yes.
she cooperated with me here in Denver. DALG, Orioles money line, under 6 runs. So I'm guessing that's their team total. I do not have the WagerTalk odds screen open in this current moment in time.
I don't think their team 6 runs seems like a lot for their team total. I'll say this: I kind of like the Orioles. I like the Orioles in the first 5. Is what I would like. Tampa Bay, Kelly, I think has quit, and that's okay.
What?
If you're not going anywhere, I think they've quit. Look, I bet them over their season win total.
Yeah.
I think they've quit. Look, did you see what they did at the deadline? That basically signaled to the players, we don't believe in you. They've overachieved all year. This is a team with a very poor.
Everybody said
Yes.
how awful they were going to be. I've been to a few Rays games. I will say this as somebody who doesn't follow baseball, so I'm not some authority to speak on it. The Rays have superseded expectations, and I think that overall their fans are very happy with the way that the season's gone, considering.
Yeah, I mean, to be over 500 with a minus 48 run differential, yes, comment section, I brought up run differentials I'm federally required to do. They're a little lucky, I think, to be over 500. They've had great close game luck is what they've had, but I don't know. I mean, their actions, the trade deadline signaled to me that they're not doing well. They don't do well against Baltimore. Baltimore, where they have cleaned up the last several years, is within the division. They have a great division record. I don't think they've lost. I know they swept Tampa Bay the last they played. I don't know if they've lost to them at all year, but Tampa Bay's division record this year, Baltimore's division record this year is 25-12, and that's why they're in first place. So I'm not looking to get in front of the Orioles here in this spot.
Don't want to step in front of the Orioles freight train. That is fair. Got another couple baseball questions here. Ray Karkman wants to talk about the lowly White Sox. Do you think they have a chance here today, Brian Power?
No. I foolishly thought they had a chance with Garrett Crochet on the mound. You talk about a guy who's quit. You talk about a team that should quit. The White Sox, although they rallied to only lose by 1 run last night, I would not endorse the White Sox today on the run line. I like Justin Steele a lot. He's a guy who has pitched way, way better than his record. My clients probably remember when he picked up his first win of the season, I had a 4% best bet on him to record a win that day because he's a guy, along with Blake Snell of the Giants, Ryan Feltner of Colorado, to name a few, that the record just doesn't match how they've actually pitched. Again, Chris Flexen, who in the world? I cannot come on here, a widely watched show on YouTube, and tell people to put their hard-earned money on Chris Flexen. Chris Flexen is very terrible. If you want to bet the White Sox, get out with your bad self.
Do you see why we love Brian Power more than Adam Trigger? Adam Trigger will allow you to put your hard-earned money on the White Sox. Brian Power will not allow you to do so. No, all jokes aside. Triggs hit some really nice +1.5 this baseball season with some absolute hot garbage teams. I have not had the cojones to do so, but I digress. All right, Brandon Cheatwood on TikTok wants to know if you like the Braves money line. You just talked about Cubs, White Sox, so that answers the Cubs portion of that parlay.
The Braves. For a while, Kelly, I thought they were kind of gold bricking, and maybe because this is a team that obviously has been great in the regular season and has flamed out in the playoffs. I was like, all right, maybe they just got an eye towards the postseason. We're going to get through the regular season, and then we're going to turn it on in October. I think maybe they're just actually not really that good this year. Colorado, obviously a much different animal at home than on the road. On the road, they're pathetic. I had a 5% play, a rare 5% play earlier in the week on them against the Mets. It was a tremendous scheduling spot. I wouldn't want to bet Colorado here. Atlanta eventually has got to get off the schneid, don't they, Kelly? I mean, you can't. I mean, are they just going to keep losing? I don't know. But it's a big price to ask for a team that's not playing well. Again, I just... Maybe if you parlay it with something, I guess. I don't want to play the Braves at this big price today. I just don't. I mean, look, how many have they lost in a row now? Was it 7? Betting teams that have lost 7 in a row in that price range is generally not a money-making strategy in this sport.
I would agree. That is my biggest beef with baseball is the price. I'm a little price. We'll say that. I'm a little risk-averse when it comes to some of the pricing in the baseball world. All right, Titan CT. Casey was no good yesterday. Do we come back? Ugh. See, this is the other thing. Yeah. It's like they were garbage.
Yeah, don't get me started. Don't get me started on Kansas City. Yes, they were very upsetting. Yes, they had the lead and they blew it at the end. And shame on me because I've ripped the Royals bullpen throughout. The Royals are a team that I struggle to figure out because it's been again, let's talk about run differential. I know everyone's going to say, oh, God, and roll their eyes. He's talking about run differential again. But their run differential is very good, Kansas City's +91. That's among the best in baseball, okay? But it is a byproduct of them just destroying the White Sox. I think they're 12-1 against the White Sox this year, and their run differential is like close to +50. You take that away, they're still a good team. I think a lot of the pitching has overachieved. I loved the spot yesterday, though, Kelly, because Kansas City had Thursday off where St. Louis did not. But the Royals blew it late. I thought they had that game in hand, 5-3. Waka has been pretty good. I think he's allowed 3 earned runs or less, though, in 13 straight starts. So I kind of give Kansas City the edge there. Maybe first 5 with Kansas City today, or maybe team total, because as a lot of people know who follow the Royals, their offense is so much better at home. They still scored 5 runs last night, obviously. There's been that curious, there's been the chatter about those curious strikeout numbers. They strike out so few. They strike out so much less at home than they do on the road. So maybe that's an alternate way to take a KC Titan CT, is look at either the first 5 or their team total over. That way you don't have to worry about the bullpen.
All right, one more baseball question from TikTok. Nate wants to know if you like the Red Sox. Currently, Red Sox minus 120 over the Astros on the WagerTalk odds screen.
It was so interesting that there was clearly sharp money on that over yesterday. And I was like, wow, really? Boston scores less at home. Houston scores less on the road. These 2 starters are pretty good. Well, wouldn't you know, the over hit. Big total again today. Eric Getty is someone who initially I believed in, that I, kept watching a pitch and I believe in him less. It's interesting because, like I said, Houston worse on the road, Boston worse at home. So I'm not in a rush to bet either side in this game. But I don't know, maybe a slight lean towards Houston in that one. It did not make my card. Total's very high, which is really interesting considering what we've seen from these teams this season.
All right, as I mentioned, Bryan Power and I are going to pivot, talking some NFL preseason. BP, I know why you're giving this one out for free. John Murray gave out this play on Kelly and Murray on Wednesday. The Browns have just gotten absolutely obliterated here as far as the spread goes. I think I laid 3.5 with them on Wednesday. I'd have to double check. Now 5.5. So that makes sense. You're not going to give it out on your client card. It's moved 2 points.
Yeah.
But as I was walking to get a coffee this morning, I saw Green Bay was going to start Jordan Love. And I thought, shit, that is not what I wanted to see. Should I be concerned about that? Or are we just going to see Jordan for three or four downs? They're going to take him out and figure out who their backup quarterback is going to be.
Well, what's interesting about the line move, it was LaFleur had said, Kelly, earlier in the week, even before the line move, that Love was going to play. And so this line move, kind of was in spite of that announcement. I still would lay it with Cleveland. I'll tell you why. Jordan Love, there was kind of an injury scare in practice midweek. Yes, he'll play, but I don't think it's going to be for very long. I mean, my goodness, you don't want to risk him to injury. LaFleur has generally not been that good in the preseason, just 5-8. Based on this line move, you have to suspect that those Packers first teamers aren't going to be in there very long. And what's interesting, if you look at the first half line versus the full game line here, the first half line hasn't moved much. I think it's the second half, Kelly, where Cleveland is going to do damage because their quarterback room is just a lot deeper and better. Following Love, who do you got? Sean Clifford of Penn State fame and Michael Pratt from Tulane. Not inspiring options. No Deshaun Watson for Cleveland. That's okay. I'm not a big Deshaun Watson fan, truthfully. But the rest of the Cleveland room at quarterback, you got Jameis Winston, DTR, and Tyler Huntley. Winston's a proven commodity, and DTR was a preseason superstar last year, if you remember. It was out of necessity that he started the regular season, but he got some buzz from the preseason. I think if you're afraid to play the Browns now because of the line move, you wait, maybe just jump on them and see if you can get a better number for the second half. Maybe things are a little tighter. Maybe Love does something for Green Bay at first, and you can get a better number on the Browns in the second half. But I expect Cleveland to pull away in this game in the second half. I still would, at 5.5, I would follow the money and lay it full game with Cleveland still.
Would you do that? Or do you have maybe another, we'll call it game that got steamed as far as like a money line perspective? I think the Raiders got steamed. I'd have to look and see what else John gave out. Let me just pull that up real quick.
There's been a lot of steam in the market everywhere on these preseason games. Generally speaking,
Raiders money line to win my parlay. Kylie agrees. I don't know. I think at this point, instead of laying 5.5 with the Browns, I think it is the Bills. Andrew just said the Bills. I think it's the Bills.
Their popular side.
The Raiders and the Browns that we have left for today from the Kelly Murray podcast. But I apologize. I brought the wrong notebook to Denver with me.
Oh, well. Well,
What are you
strange
gonna do?
things can happen in Denver. There we go. Yeah, I don't. Tennessee is also another team that's taking money. So yeah, the Bills seem to be a sharp side as well. But I don't know. I think the line move's not going to matter. I mean, certain games last night, it didn't matter. Houston obviously still took care of business, even though, they went from dog to favorite. Same thing with Philadelphia against Baltimore, always preseason darling there. So I think we're okay at 5.5 with Cleveland still, honestly. I think they dominate the second half of that football game.
For the PLL fans on TikTok, I'll have you know, 27.5 is no longer available on the Utah Archers app team. It's now 27. So maybe we win another game by the hook today. We'll find out. Me sweating another under in person. God, Bryan Power, what is wrong with us? What actually has to be inherently wrong with you to go to a game like we do and bet unders?
It's funny. Like I just stare at the game, like real, like mean. And it looks like, I'm just like, stop doing things, everybody. Let's just go. And like, and then I'm having fun. And then I turn my back and there's a home run. And I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, I don't know. It's the life we've chosen, Kelly. It's the life we've chosen, Kelly. A contrarian picks, like I said, hey, it could be worse. Like I said, we could bet the White Sox today. That might not be fun to watch either.
I haven't texted Adam Trigger, but I would beg to argue he's probably on one of those hot garbage teams today. If I had to guess between the Rockies, the Athletics, or the White Sox, what do you want to bet? One of those three teams made his client card.
I don't want to give away the man's plays. I talked to him. I don't want to get a text from him and say, hey, what are you giving away my plays?
But I guarantee he's on at least one of those teams today. Adam, if you're watching, drop it in the chat. Let us know. Give out a little free play for the audience. They miss you. We still got 8 minutes left, but I'm out of questions. Bryan Trigger, do you have anything you'd like to leave our audience with?
Well, now you're just merging me and Trig's name now at this point. You called me Bryan Trigger there. You're just merging us. Yes, Bryan Power. I do have an afternoon play up in Major League Baseball. Like I said, it's been a 6-2 run the last 4 days. That's all Major League Baseball. Looking to have a strong month of August on the diamond before we obviously get knee deep in football. And as I'm sure you're very excited about, Kelly, the Premier League returns next week. So we're excited about that as well.
You and John Murray can be so excited about soccer.
Yes, I see that.
College football is in 3 Saturdays. I could give a fuck about soccer until maybe the World Cup. Maybe. That being said, I do enjoy tailing.
Tell us how you really feel.
You, Pavlos, Carmine. There was some really nice soccer runs there to get me through the dog days of summer. So I will not complain about your Euro Cup plays. Bryan Power, BP, WT.buzz/BP. As always, it's been a pleasure, and I will see you guys next week. No, I won't. I'll be in Vegas. I'm going to make Joe host in Vegas because Joe's going to be at the blackjack table till probably right before the show starts, 8 a.m. Eastern, and then he'll go to bed on Saturday.
Full disclosure, it'll probably be me hosting is what it sounds like if you two are in Vegas.
I don't know. No, I'll do next week from Vegas, and then New York is the week I'm not hosting. So you guys are stuck with me for another week via laptop, crappy mic, sun shining through my hotel room window. I'm just glistening at this point. Shout out to Dan Newbert for his interjections, Andy Lang, Tokyo Brandon, and of course, our good buddy Bryan Power. Good luck on all of your wagers today. Again, check out the WagerTalk odds screen, WT.buzz/odds, so you guys can shop around and get the best price. Also, head over to WagerTalk.com. Check out what these guys have up for sale. Hit that like button, smash it, subscribe, whether you're on TikTok, Instagram, or Twitter. We appreciate you guys watching.